Welcome. Oh, cancel that.
Looks like it's streaming now.
Good morning.
I got a question while we're waiting. I've never stayed at the Senator Inn. Do I have to make a reservation, and do we get a different rate because of being in the legislature?
I don't know if you have to make an advance reservation, but there had always been a legislative rate that they had offered. I'm not sure what it is currently, but in the past it had been a rate that was less than what it would be if you weren't a legislator, as long as you're there for legislative business.
Okay.
But I don't know what that is these days. It's probably still something that's reduced, but there may have been some materials they sent out to all of us back when we were sworn in. That I think they had a list of all the hotels in the Augusta area and what the legislative rate is for them. Senator Inn, I believe, was on there. You could check with maybe your legislative aide could track that down.
Okay, thank you. My first time.
Hey, good morning. It's Joe Perry. Am I there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Joe.
Yes, Joe, we can.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
All right, so I just spoke with Avery, so I guess everything's all worked out. She just didn't realize we were at east for the technical issues. So those are all resolved, so we can start back up. Everybody's ready. So we're on LD 401. Julie was just getting ready. It was going over the bill with us. Do you want to resume, Julie?
Yep, I'm sharing the screen again here. LD 401 is representative on, I should probably repeat. I'll try to make it a little bit shorter. Representative Underwood's bill to provide a sales and use tax exemption for certain nonprofit cemeteries. The bill refers to cemeteries that are exempt from federal income tax under section 501c13 of the Internal Revenue Code. And I printed in your bill chart the text of 501c13. The definition there is a little bit broader than incorporated nonprofit cemetery. It would definitely be cemeteries that are organized either as mutual companies or as corporations that may only perform cemetery functions, and where the net earnings do not inure to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. Maine Revenue Services pointed out that the language in the statute is probably somewhat confusing in that it refers to incorporated nonprofit cemetery under 13, and 13 would cover things that are not incorporated, but they would have to be solely cemetery things. The other issue is incorporated is a defined term under the sales tax to mean entities that are incorporated under 501c3 of the United States Internal Revenue Code. Did I say incorporated? Nonprofit. It's nonprofit that's defined as that. So the language, if you want to move forward with it, there should be some language. I think probably it would just say sales and use tax exemption for an cemetery company, because that's the term defined in the code that is exempt under 501c13 of the United States Internal Revenue Code. Under that definition, they would all be nonprofit.
All right, thank you for that overview, Julie. Questions from the committee or discussion? We have the sponsor with us, Representative Underwood. Do you have any additional information you'd like to provide to the committee?
No, not at the present time, but I would like to make the change that was suggested.
So you want to make a change that would be basically any cemetery that's nonprofit under the Internal Revenue Service Code as a nonprofit? Correct. Okay. I think that was some concern one of us had. What do we mean by certain cemetery companies, and how is that defined? And maybe just make it for all nonprofit cemeteries under the Internal Revenue Service Code. So I think that would be supported by committee members. But would anybody like to make a motion? Go ahead, Representative Hanlon.
I make a motion this pass as amended.
Second.
So we have a motion by Representative Hanlon to pass as amended, seconded by Representative Carey. The amendment being that it would be changed to include all nonprofit cemeteries as defined under the Internal Revenue Service Code as nonprofit. Committee discussion?
And also the fiscal note.
And there would be a fiscal note as well. That would be in the amendment. Well, seeing no committee discussion, I guess we will vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify.
I cannot hear anything. I don't have audio. What?
Was that Rep Collins who said he didn't have audio?
Yeah.
Yes.
Avery, I think if you
I don't have audio. I can't hear anything. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I can't hear.
Okay. Should I just do that as absent?
I can't hear anything going on.
Do you want to
Maybe I'll chat. I'll send him a chat.
Maybe someone-
Sure, sure. Okay. All right. I'll count the other ones in the meantime.
I'm a yes, Avery.
Okay. Thank you.
If someone has his phone number, they should call him and
Yeah.
give him a little information.
Good call, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay. In the meantime, I have Senator Chipman. I have Representative Terry, Representative Gramlich, Representative Sachs, Representative Kryzak, Representative Bickford, Representative Hanley, and Representative Carmichael.
So we're going to wait for Representative Collins.
Yeah.
Terry, or should we? Avery, did you get a vote from Representative Gramlich? I don't know when she came on.
Yeah, I got a yes vote.
Great. Okay.
Did you get a vote from Representative Bickford, Avery?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Avery, is everybody who's present voting in favor with the exception of Representative Collins?
Yep. Everyone I have is unanimous.
Okay.
So Avery, I think I think part of the audio issue on Representative Collins' part might be I had a similar issue earlier. I had shared my invitation with Representative Perry, and because of that, our audio was crisscrossing.
Oh.
Perhaps we can send a new link to Representative Perry and to Representative Collins, and
Okay.
perhaps they can restart themselves and give it a try that way.
Sure.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks.
So,
And it's
Terry,
been going so well the last couple of
I
weeks.
know.
should we, Representative Terry, should we close out the vote and have Representative Collins vote afterwards? I mean, he's sort of here, but not here because he can't hear us. So I don't know.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we can move forward. So we'll anybody opposed? So that's unanimous. We will close out the work session on LD 401. And we will now go into work session on LD 435, which is an act to provide a sales and use tax exemption for certain educational collaboratives, sponsored by Representative Pickett.
Yes, it provides a sales tax exemption for an incorporated nonprofit collaborative whose members are regional school units, and that is organized to assist those units with professional development opportunities and services. Maine Revenue Services suggests that the exemption be separated for the exemption for governmental entities, since the collaboratives at issue here are not actually government entities, but their members are government entities. So they've suggested a different location of the entities. We had one collaborative from Western Maine testify. I don't know as we had any information whether there were any others. I don't know.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Any questions or discussion from members of the committee? Would you like to hear from the department? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'm so sorry. Julie, I'm really sorry. I lost my audio there for a second too. Can you tell me what bill we're on?
We're on LD 435.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
I just promoted one of the sponsors, Rep. Rudnicki.
So is Representative Pickett with us?
He's supposed to be getting online now.
Okay. So the department had a suggested change. Did you catch that part, Representative Terry, or should we have Julie?
I did not. I'm so sorry.
Julie, if you could just repeat the change the department was suggesting on this bill.
Yes, they suggested having a different location for the exemption under the exemptions in section 1760. The way the bill is drafted, it's included under the exemption for governmental entities. And I guess technically, at least the one collaborative, which appears to be mostly behind this bill, is not a government entity. It's a private nonprofit corporation, which is whose members are municipal or school units. So they thought that it would be better if it was in a different subsection. I should also mention that they had it at preliminary administrative cost of $5,000 for computer programming. It's not a multiple of 11,000.
So it would go in. So it would go in with where schools lie. Is that what we're looking at?
The way it's drafted now, yes. I mean, it's subsection 2. If you've got the bill in front of you, is sales to the state or any political subdivision of the state or the federal government, or any unincorporated agency or instrumentality of either or both of them, or an incorporated agency or instrumentality of them wholly owned by them. A political subdivision of the state would include municipalities, school districts, other things that are in many instances established by statute, which are defined as being instrumentalities of the state. They acquire certain authority by virtue of that, and apparently Revenue Services feels that this must not fit into that category. You might want to have, it would be Ms. Method, I guess, in this instance. She's the sales tax director. So I think she might.
Yeah, I think I'd
one.
like to hear from her, please.
Representative Carmichael?
Well, if Representative Terry would like to hear from him, then I'm fine. I was just going to make a motion that it pass, but that it ought to pass as amended by the MRS. But if she has some questions there, I'm not against delaying that for a few minutes to answer questions.
You can make
Thanks,
the motion.
Representative Carmichael.
Yeah, you can make the motion and we can still discuss and hear from the department. Would you like to make that motion now, or do you want to wait?
Nope, I'll make it now.
All right, so we have a motion from Representative Carmichael ought to pass as amended. I assume that's incorporating the change that MRS suggested as well as fiscal note.
That's
I'll
correct.
second.
All right, so seconded by Representative Bickford. We have a motion, and now we'll hear from the department. If they're with us.
They're not with us yet.
With us. Okay.
Avery, could you move Ms. Method to panelist?
Yep, doing that now.
And is Representative Pickett now been moved over to panelist, or?
I'll take a look and see if he's on.
Because
Oh,
he's
yep.
waiting to be moved over, is what the note says in the chat.
Yeah, I just promoted him.
Okay, great.
It looks like Ms. Method's with us.
So is Ms. Method like to join
Yes,
us?
good morning. Good morning. Senator Chipman, Representative Terry. MRS is just suggesting that this particular exemption be enacted as a separate exemption in and of itself and not be included in the exemption for government entities, because technically it's not a government entity. It is a nonprofit whose members are school RSUs, but it is not in and of itself an instrumentality of government. So it would still stand as an exemption, but just separate from the government exemption.
May I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Representative Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Method, I'm totally okay with doing it this way, but generally speaking, we try to make it easier on you guys by clumping people together, by clumping groups together. And this feels to me like this would be better suited in the government entities piece. I'm just curious as to why, I guess, you would not want to add this like you would a school, considering that they're all schools that are in these collaboratives.
I mean, government entities don't necessarily have to apply for us for exemption. They're exempt by virtue of this. These organizations would actually have to prove to us that they are organized as a nonprofit 501c3 and that they actually are educational collaboratives. Our research shows that there's probably 4 that we could find in the state.
And do any
so I think administratively, it just makes more sense to keep them separate because administratively they're handled differently.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Does anybody else have any questions for the department? Can't see everybody, but it's kind of scrolling down. Doesn't look like anybody does. Representative Pickett, do you have any additional information you'd like to provide to us before we vote on the motion? You're muted, Representative Pickett.
Yeah, I tried to get on earlier there, and I was having a difficult time getting on. So I'm on. Is there anybody here from the WMEC?
I don't know. Do we have anybody from WMEC?
Not appear that we do.
Okay, so well, I didn't really hear a lot about what was going on, but I'm understanding that apparently. Well, why don't I do this? Can somebody give me a short synopsis of what is being suggested?
Yeah, so we have a motion not to pass as amended. The amendment being to just have this appear in the exemption be separated from the exemptions for governmental entities. So it would appear differently in a different place in the policy, but still doing everything to do with the bill. And then the other part of the amendment would be incorporate this note.
Okay. Yep. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Somebody's not muted. I don't know if Avery, if you can mute someone that's been a lot of back.
I think it might
So
be Representative Pickett.
is there any additional discussion from members of the committee? We have a motion on the table. Seeing no additional discussion, all those in favor, please signify. Do we know if Representative Collins is able to hear us? All right. Do you have everybody, Avery?
Yep, I have Senator Chipman, Representative Terry, Representative Gramlich, Representative Kryzak, Representative Bickford, Representative Hanley, and Representative Carmichael.
All right. All those opposed? All right. So that appears to be unanimous with the exception of Representative Collins. I don't know that he can hear us, so he's not able to vote if he doesn't know what we're doing, but everybody else is voting in favor. It appears to be unanimous. We will now close the work session on LD 435 and we'll go into work session on LD 506. This is an act to reduce the tax burden on low-income electricity customers, sponsored by Representative Berry, who I believe is also with us. Avery, if you can promote him to panelist, that would be great.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
This bill provides a sales and use tax exemption for all electricity consumed by residential customers participating in either a low-income assistance program or an arrearage management program approved by the Maine PUC. current law provides a sales tax exemption for the first for anybody, provides an exemption for the first 750 kilowatt hours per month for residential electricity and for off-peak residential electricity for space heating or water heating by electric thermal storage devices. We did just receive an email this morning from the Office of the Public Advocate providing some additional information that had been requested at the public hearing. I think that Mr. Hobbins may be here, or someone else who may be able to speak to that. But in briefly scanning it, it looks like they've identified numbers of people that they believe participate in the low income assistance program and the arrearage management program, and have identified an average cost of about $34 per household.
Is that per month or per year?
It says per year.
Per year, okay. $34 a year per household. Okay. Well, should we maybe hear from Mr. Hobbins if he's able to join us?
Yeah, I'll promote him now. He is in the attendees list.
Okay. Committee discussion or questions? Welcome, Mr. Hobbins.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Senator Chipman, Representative Terry, members of the Taxation Committee. For the record, I'm Barry Hobbins, Public Advocate with the Office of the Public Advocate. As you know from my testimony at the public hearing, our office drafted this legislation, and I think it's important to note that the exemption that we're asking for really does maximizes the value of the benefit from subsidies provided to participants in this program. I realize to many, $34 doesn't mean much, but to those who have economic dislocation, it is, I think, it's more than symbolic, but I do believe it's a good public policy to have this provision. I included in my testimony links to two particular studies, which I hope maybe you would consider looking at, or if you haven't already. I think it's really important. We commissioned two different firms to look at this particular area, and what we found out that those who have low income assistance through LIAP or ELP use almost double the average household in households enrolled, also of households that enroll in the arrearage management program. Those individuals even more. So I think if you could consider it, it would be, I think, good public policy for this legislation.
Okay, great. We have maybe a question from Representative Bickford.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to make a motion ought to pass as amended with any fiscal note.
Second.
We have a motion ought to pass as amended to incorporate any fiscal note made by Representative Bickford and seconded by Representative Terry. Any additional committee discussion? I think the sponsor's with us too. I just wanted to ask if he had anything additional to add before we vote on the motion. Is Representative Berry with us?
Thank you, Senator Chipman. Yes, this is Seth Berry, representing House District 55, beautiful Bodenham, Bowdoin, almost all of Richmond and Swan Island on the Kennebec. And I just want to say thank you to Representative Bickford for the motion. Thank you to the committee for considering this legislation. And I do believe that as we move forward towards more use of electricity for home heating and cooling in particular, and other household uses, that this will be very impactful. Just as a reminder, we do currently exempt heating oil from the sales tax. And so as people begin to move towards heat pumps, which the state is actively promoting, I think it's appropriate to put these things on parity, at least for our lowest income, most vulnerable consumers. So thank you very much for your attention to this, and happy to follow up with you as it's helpful to the committee.
So, well, thank you for being with us and for those comments. Appreciate it. Is there any additional committee discussion? Representative Bickford, your hand's still up. Do you have anything else you wanted to say, or is that just to make the motion?
No, that was just for the motion. Sorry.
Seeing no further committee discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please signify. So it looks to be unanimous. You have everything, Avery?
I have Senator Chipman, Representative Terry, Representative Collings, Representative Sachs, Representative Kryzak, Representative Bickford, and Representative Carmichael.
All right. I believe that's
I
unanimous.
don't think I'm missing anyone.
Any opposition? Seeing none, that appears to be unanimous. So thank you. So we'll now close the work session for the 5:06, and we will go into work session on LD 538. This is an act to exempt trailers sold to out-of-state entities from sales and use tax, sponsored by Senator Miramont.
This bill provides a sales and use tax exemption for trailers that are purchased in the state by a non-resident and then driven or transported outside the state immediately upon delivery. Current law would exempt a sale such as this if the seller was delivering the item to the buyer out of state. But this would apply to instances where the buyer wants to come to Maine to pick it up or to have their own carrier transport it to them. I include it in the summary down here, the definition of trailer from the statute. Means a vehicle without motive power and mounted on wheels that is designed to carry persons or property and to be drawn by a motor vehicle and not operated on tracks. It says trailer includes a camper trailer as defined in section 1481.
All right. Thank you for that. We have,
I'm sorry, I was pausing. The Maine Revenue Services indicated that the administrative costs would be negligible. They did not provide a revenue loss. There was a similar bill last year that was reported out of committee and died on the appropriations table. The fiscal note on that one for a full year was about $176,000. That doesn't necessarily say that would apply to this bill, but it's probably in the ballpark.
Okay. Is that what the fiscal note was last time around? When we took this bill? So
Yes.
6,000, and this bill is sponsored. What we're looking at right now, is this the amended version of the bill that we worked in committee last session? You know if it's.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Is the
I don't have a copy of it from last session.
Note of the sponsor, the panelist, Senator Miramont. Avery.
Oh yeah, I already promoted him. He's coming on now.
Great. So we have Representative Kryzak followed by
Hello.
Representative Bickford. Go ahead, Representative Kryzak.
Yeah, Julie, didn't we vote this through unanimously in the 129th?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll while you're talking amongst yourselves, I'll see if I can look it up and find out more information about 2 years ago.
Yeah, we took this up 2 years ago and we spent a lot of time on it, and I don't remember the vote if it was unanimous or close to unanimous, but Representative Bickford.
Yes, I want to make a motion ought to pass as amended. I do believe that we were unanimous last session.
I'll second it.
Is the amendment just to incorporate the fiscal note?
Yes.
Okay. We have Representative Bickford has made a motion not to pass as amended to incorporate the fiscal note, as seconded by Representative Kryzak. Representative Terry, did you have something?
I was just going to mention, thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to mention that with that fiscal note, I think we can, remembering last session and this one, I believe in Senator Miremont's testimony, he reminded us that probably not a whole heck of a lot of people charge this tax. And the person that brought this to his attention is an honest broker, if I remember correctly, and does charge the tax if he has to. So our fiscal note, while I'm very comfortable with it as is probably not what we've been collecting anyway. So I'm very supportive of this. So I'll wait for the vote though, but thank you.
All right, and then Senator Miremont, did you have any additional information you'd like to provide to the committee?
I don't. I think you have a good memory of the last time, and the committee too. It's pretty simple, and I don't have more. Thank you very much for asking.
Senator Miremont, is this the bill you presented? Is this the amended version that came out of committee last time?
It's a mix, but we tried to just keep the things that the committee liked, because I do remember a longer discussion with a lot of parties to refine it, and that's what we tried to bring this time. That's why there's so little in it, but that's good, because last time I added some things and they didn't need to be there.
So the bill you presented incorporates all of the work we did last time and changes that we made in committee last time?
I believe so. I mean, it was 2 years ago, but I told the revisers to look at that and the one that was voted out, because that was the work of everyone. So
okay. Excellent. That's good to know. I know some people were wondering about that. Any additional committee discussion, Representative Bickford?
Oh, sorry, my hand was up from earlier.
All right, so seeing no other committee discussion, all those in favor of this motion not to pass as amended, please signify.
Six people in here.
So we don't have quorum. All right, so we need one more member before we can vote.
Yep. Want to go into the next one, Senator, and we can come back to this one if we can get another committee member or two.
Yeah, can you work on trying to get someone else to come back?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. So we'll
Sorry to leave you hanging, Senator.
we will hold off on the vote of that motion till we get another member for quorum. We'll now go into work session on LD 611, an act to exempt long-term lodging from the 9% sales tax on lodging, sponsored by Representative Rudnicki.
thank you.
Great.
Senator, can I ask a quick question while we're getting ready for that?
Sure.
Do we have any more other than this next one and
Yeah.
the last one? Okay, so I'm going to ask members if they can jump in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so we can all vote on both of them. So we have enough for both.
Okay.
So sorry, Julie, to interrupt. Go ahead.
Sure. I'll also just mention, we also have 2 amendment reviews to do, but I'm not sure exactly if that's an official vote, but you're probably best off having a quorum for that too. I'm not sure. Yes, LD 611 is an act to exempt long-term lodging from the 9% sales tax on lodging, Representative Rudnicki's bill. The bill as it's drafted, it provides an exemption for an individual who resides continuously in a tent or trailer space for 90 days or more in order to work during the summer season. Representative Rudnicki at the public hearing suggested taking out the last phrase of that sentence, which would require that it only apply if the person is living in the tent or trailer space in order to work during the summer season. So as amended, it would simply say an individual who resides continuously in a tent or trailer space for 90 days or more. Maine Revenue Services has questions about whether this was intended to be retroactive. The bill says the effective date is January 1st of this year, 2021, which obviously happened a couple of months ago. So the Maine Revenue Services raised that as a question and has some other technical concerns as well.
Representative Krajicek.
No, sorry, I forgot to take my hand down.
Okay. Representative Bickford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to make a motion not to pass as amended, and I'd like to change the effective date to July 1st so that it starts in the new fiscal year and also with the fiscal note.
I second it.
And to take away the working sentence.
I still second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Representative Bickford not to pass as amended, seconded by Representative Krajicek. You have your hand up, Julie.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that July is probably a bit early unless you want to put an emergency preamble on the bill, since the bill is not an emergency and would take effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns. I don't know when you're adjourning. Maybe July's okay, or maybe it's not, but it's something to think about anyway. I just wanted to raise that as an issue. I guess it just occurred to me, I didn't know when you were adjourning. So ordinarily you would be adjourning in June in a long session, and we ordinarily think that October 1st would be the earliest date we should do in that instance. But in your current situation, you may be adjourning sooner than June.
Representative Bickford.
Yes, I just, I want to clarify, if we do enact this as a regular enactor and it takes effect 90 days after we adjourn, can we still have it retroactive to July 1st?
You can if you want to. I mean, it would be
Yes.
awkward, I assume, for
Well, I'm thinking
Maine
of the
Revenue
campground.
Services and taxpayers.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the campgrounds, and it's very, I don't understand the tax on campgrounds, but let's take the date of July 1st off, let it be enacted as the legislature enacts. If
Right.
Ted's all right with that.
Is the seconder okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a
I would only suggest, if I'm understanding the motion correctly, first of all, I think you probably want to hear from Ms. Method about the retroactive possibility. But as I understood, what Representative Bickford was suggesting is that there not be an effective date in the bill and that it just take effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns, whenever that is.
Correct.
Maine Revenue Services usually prefers that an exemption take effect on the first day of a month. So would it be okay to say the first day of the first month after the bill takes effect?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll hear from Ms. Method, or are we? Okay. Ms. Method, do you have anything to add?
Not in terms, I guess, of the retroactivity, but we do want to suggest that opposed to an individual who resides continuously in a tent or trailer space, that we say a trailer camp. We do have a definition of trailer camp in our statute, and that definition encompasses a tent and trailer space. So a trailer camp means a place with or without service facilities where spaces offered to the public for tenting or for parking and accommodations of camper trailers, motorhomes, or truck campers. It just makes it cleaner if it's referencing something we already have a definition of.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Representative Bickford.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and amend that with that language that she just brought up, and I hope Representative Kryzak is good with that also.
I am.
The other suggestion that we had, so there's currently an exemption in the statute for people who stay 28 days for education or employment. And the statute requires that the tax is collected from those people for the first 28 days. And then if they go beyond the 28 days, it gets refunded. And that is just because in the event plans change. I don't know if you guys want to, if the committee wants to consider something similar to that for these folks. I know that this is generally supposed to benefit seasonal campers, and those people's plans don't generally change. Either they keep their camper here in Maine, but it is something to think about, that when we do have an exemption for the 28 days, we do require the tax to be collected for those first 28 days and refunded. So it would mean that the tax would be collected and then refunded if in fact they stay for the 90 days. It's just something to consider. But those were the only two concerns that we had.
Representative Bickford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That sounds like an accounting nightmare. I'm not sure I'd want to put that into this bill.
I agree, Mr. Chair.
Representative Bickford, why don't you just have it start January 1?
Yeah, we could do that also. That way, we might lose this year, which we're going to anyways if it takes effect in October. So, yeah, we could have it. You mean January 1 next year, right?
That's what I'd suggest, yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'd like to amend it with that. That's good. If Representative Kryzak's good with that also.
I am.
All right, so we got the committee discussion. Representative Sachs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With deference to the sponsor, this was not a bill I was supportive of. I read the additional information from indicating that one of the concerns was loss of revenue to New Hampshire. They charge the same tax. I understand that it might be a slight benefit to those who are vacationing for that time, but did not feel, again, as I often say, as a policy, that this was an extension that I could support. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Additional committee discussion. The sponsors with us, Representative Rudnicki, do you have any additional information you'd like to provide to the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think so at this time. I just know that I believe that this would be a benefit to the, community that does a lot of this, which is, usually it's in our older community that is setting up seasonals and that type of thing. And that is definitely a benefit to them. So I would certainly appreciate the support on this. And I understand the motion to change to start January 1st. I mean, as much as it would be nice to do it this year, I certainly understand waiting and doing it so that everybody was on the same page. So that's fine. And it's my understanding that New Hampshire does not charge a lodging tax and Maine does, and that does make a difference.
Well,
so,
Representative Rudnicki, we did get an email from the campground owner in Litchfield, I believe, in response to that. I believe in the email he said that the answer to the question about New Hampshire was yes, they do charge it, and he did provide information about that in the email.
Okay, I just got a text from him and he said they didn't. So okay, I'm kind of a little bit confused on that one, but I still think that it's not about New Hampshire anyway. It's about Maine and what's good for the folks here in Maine. And I think exempting people that are seasonal would be a benefit to our residents and our our economy. But thank you.
I mean, I don't know if one of the other committee members wants to bring up the email so that we can be clear on it, but my recollection was that the question was, does New Hampshire charge this tax? And in the email, he said yes.
No, that was excuse me, I'm sorry. He's sending me a text now and he says that New Hampshire does not charge a lodging tax on it. It is a property tax when they are deaths on that. So that is the difference.
Okay. And do we charge a property tax in Maine?
We charge a property tax if it's a personal property tax, I believe. If they don't move the camper and it stays at the campground, it's considered a personal property tax. If it stays at the campground because they're not registering it, if they actually remove it, then they're charged registration and excise taxes and stuff on that. So that's the difference. So there is no lodging tax on New Hampshire. So I think that answers your question.
I mean, they don't have the lodging tax, but they have other taxes that maybe they don't have here. If they're here for a certain period of time, we just charge a lodging tax. Does that seem right?
Yeah, I believe so. The lodging tax, I mean, the lodging tax does add up. So I think that's what's, a bigger concern when you start, looking at that further along.
Yeah, my understanding is about $250 for a season of tax that gets paid in lodging tax. We have hands up from Representative Sachs, followed by Representative Kreisler. Representative Sachs, you don't have, okay, go ahead, Representative Kreisler.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. When I was chairman of the board and selectmen in Acton, we have a campground in Acton where a lot of people leave their campers there year round. If they don't register them, then we're supposed to charge a property tax. But it ended up costing us more for the assessor to go out every year in April to assess these campers than we were getting in tax dollars. And then because a lot of the people were from out of state, they weren't paying it. So then it was costing us even more to take them to court to get the tax money. So there is a provision, if they're not registering them, then they have to pay a real estate tax, but the town has to actually send an appraiser out every year, and there really isn't enough money in it to make it viable for the towns. As far as exempting them from a sales tax, these people are paying a year-round rate, so they're not paying a sales tax now.
But they do, I mean, currently they'd have to pay a lodging tax if they're there a certain period of time. Is that correct, Representative Kreisler?
No, these people in this campground, this particular campground, leave their campers there every year. They've got gardens around them and all this other, so it's actually a piece of real estate like a camp. And they're supposed to register them, but they don't take them on the road anymore. So they don't register them, so we don't get excise tax. And then, like I said, it costs more money to try and get the real estate tax than it's worth.
So then if you don't charge them because it's costing more than it's worth, then they're basically not paying any tax at all.
Well, we're trying to charge them, but and the other thing is they sell them a lot, so you never know who the owner is. They're constantly being bought and sold.
Huh. Okay, additional committee discussion. Leaving hands up. So we have a motion on the table ought to pass as amended. All those in favor of the motion, please signify.
I have Representatives Bickford and Kryzak.
Okay, all those opposed?
For those opposed, I have Representative Terry, Representative Sachs, Representative Collings, Representative Matlack, and Senator Chipman.
Appears to be the motion fails. Does someone else like to make another motion? Representative Terry?
I'll make a motion ought not to pass.
The motion ought not to pass made by Representative Terry. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Representative Sachs. Any further community discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, please signify.
So for those in favor of the motion, I have Representative Matlack, Representative Socks, and Representative Terry, Senator Chipman.
Okay, all those opposed?
And for those opposed, I have Representatives Bickford and Kryzak.
And what's the report of those?
Mr. Chair, that's only 6 people. We don't have a quorum.
7.
We have
That
7.
was 4. I counted 6.
Nope. There's 7 of us. Yourself,
Okay.
myself. Yep.
All right, sorry about that.
No worries.
So the report of the minority report would that be your motion you made previously, Representative Bickford?
Yes, it would. Thank you.
The minority report is the motion made by Representative Bickford previously. So that concludes the work session on LD 611. We still have to vote on LD 538. That was a motion ought to pass as amended. Act to exempt trailers sold out of state entities from sales and use tax. All those in favor of that motion?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, what are we voting on?
Well, we're voting on the previous bill. We didn't vote because we didn't have quorum. So we're now that we have quorum, we're voting on that bill. It's LD 538. It's the exempting trailers sold to out-of-state entities from sales and use tax. It's an ought to pass as amended motion.
Okay, thank you.
The amendment is fiscal note only.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like I have a unanimous vote with Senator Chipman, Representative Terry, Representative Collings, Representative Kryzak, Representative Bickford, Representative Socks, and Representative Matlack.
All right, so that's unanimous. That motion carries. So we'll now conclude the work session on LD 538. We have no other bills for work session today. I think Julie mentioned there's a couple of amendments that we'd like to review. So you want to go over those with us, Julie?
Yes, I thought I had them set to pull up here to screen share. Well, hold on a second. I'm going to have to pull them up manually here. Oh, no, there they are. Okay. LD 328. I think is this one. No, it's not that one. This one. LD 328 is an act to fully fund and restore state municipal revenue sharing. The only amendment to this was to put in some language specifying, because the bill did not specify how the retroactive payment would be made. This bill provides revenue sharing would be at 5% starting the previous January of 2021. So this says within 30 days after the effective date of this act, the state controller shall transfer to the local government fund the amount of revenue required retroactively under this act. And there's a fiscal note estimate that payment would be made in FY21. This is an emergency bill that takes effect when the governor signs it. So they're assuming that would be in FY21, $22,262,235 would be transferred from the general fund to the local government fund at that point and be distributed to municipalities in the subsequent month.
Does anybody have any concerns about that, or is everybody okay with it? See no concerns. I guess we're okay with that amendment. Julie, you want to go over the second one?
Yes. I think I canceled out the yes. Take me a little bit longer to get into it, but not very long. Okay, this is LD 412 amendment review. As you can see, these are all in the committee materials that have been posted for you as well. Amendment review. Reduce. Now I'm going to share it. There it is. LD 412 is an act to authorize the use of tax increment finance funds for constructing or renovating municipal offices and buildings. This is a minority amendment. The provision that's being added here is to further limit the use of the funds. Currently, they would have to be used for municipal buildings under the bill, but this would also put in a limit similar to the one that was enacted previously with regard to public safety facilities, that the limit would also be 15% of the captured assessed value of the development district. The response received was that there was no fiscal impact of this bill, so a fiscal note is not required. That's simply the statement showing you that. And this is the amendment adding in the limitation for percentage of captured assessed value.
Any concerns from members of the committee about this, at least from those that voted for this amendment? Okay. Looks like we're okay with that, Julie. So do you have anything else for us, Julie?
No.
So just to remind everybody, we'll be reconvening as a committee on Thursday morning for work session at 9 o'clock. Then we'll all be in session tomorrow at the Civic Center in Augusta. Do you have anything else, Representative Terry?
Nope, I don't think so. Just a reminder that we'll be having another odd day on Friday with a public hearing. So if you can't be here for whatever reason, please let us know. But we'll need less of a quorum during the day. So if you can all make it in the beginning, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, if you can be with us, it would be good for us to have as many committee members present as possible for these public hearings so we can get information and have a sense of what we want to do with the bills when we do have work session on them. But understand people have conflicts, but if you can't be with us, please let us know ahead of time, because we will need quorum at least to start. So we need to make sure we have 7 members for that. So I guess that concludes our work for the day. So we will adjourn the committee on taxation, and we'll see everyone tomorrow.